to order. And the first item on the agenda would be the request for introduction of bills. Do we have any introduction of bills? Seeing none, thank you very much. Second item on the agenda is the approval of committee minutes for, let me read these numbers off, 9, 10, 11, 16, 17, 18, 23, 24, 25, March 1st and 3rd, distributed on March 28th. Are there any discussion? Yes, Syndrome. Motion has been made and seconded. We approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Thank you very much for that. I know the next item on the agenda says confirmation hearing, but I would like to indulge and have another. We're going to do something else here for a moment. I would like to make a motion that we can reconsider the committee's action on Senate substitute for House Bill 2183. And committee, the reason for this is we have heard the comments of the people have spoken after our actions last week. So I'd like to reconsider, I'd like to make a motion that we reconsider the committee's actions on Senate substitute for House Bill 2183. We have a second on that. All in favor? Oh, yes, excuse me. Question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to clarify, that's not been read in on the Senate floor, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
So we can pull it back and it has not been read in. So any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. I'd like to make another motion to amend by restoring the time period for when the advanced voting ballots can be transmitted by the county election office, and want to move that back from the 15 days that was in the bill to the 20 days prior to the election. And what that really means, so that people will understand, when we made the motion last week, we pulled 5 days, actually went to, it was 10, we moved it back to 15 days. We also pulled 3 days off the back end and came back. So this one here will say election day is election day, 7 p.m. All votes must be in, but you have 20 days prior to the election to turn that back in. And I think that will help some concerns that the committee had, some concerns that the general population had, and we meet the disabled, we meet the nursing home, and that sort of thing. So I make that motion. Do we have a second? Seconded by Senator Faust-Godot. Is there any discussion? Yes, Senator Ware.
Thank you. That is a wonderful idea. I really appreciate that. There are still concerns, of course, in the group of those bills, but this is a wonderful step. Thank you so much.
Any other discussion? Senator Reichman, did you have any?
Okay. No, I just think it's a good motion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I make a motion to recommend a Senate substitute for House Bill 2183 favorable for passage. And note, this is not as amended. Yes, Senator Longline. Yes, we will vote on the amendment that we previously had. So we've had a motion and we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Now we'll move forward. Thank you very much for keeping me on track. Move forward. So this motion is to recommend a Senate substitute for House Bill 2183 favorable for passage. And note, and I'm going to write this has come from Jason so that everybody understands, the substitute bill is passed favorably, not as amended, because the substitute bill has not been read in an official substitute bill. Okay? I make that motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion, do you want to be recorded? Okay, thank you. Okay. Now, the last one I'll go to today would be a motion to reconsider the committee's action on Senate Bill 307. 307 was the bill that we took away the 3 days on the end of that bill. We have a second on that. All in discussion? Yes.
I may. Run through a couple of sentences of explanation of exactly what we're voting on, please.
Okay, this is the motion to reconsider what we did last week and to pull that back. That's what we're voting on here, is pull House or Senate Bill 307 back. It has not been read in. So, any further discussion? We have a motion. We had a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same sign. And thank you very much. That motion. So for now, what we have is Senate Bill 307 setting back in this committee, and we will take no further action. We do have some action we have to take today, and we appreciate that. So thank you, committee. We appreciate your work on that. So today we have confirmation hearings, and our first one is former House member Tom Phillips, member of the State Civil Service Board, and is to serve a four-year term. And the expiration would be 3/15/25. And welcome, Representative Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, Ranking Minority Member, and members of the committee. My name is Tom Phillips, and I'm here this morning seeking, I'll get a little bit closer. I'm here this morning asking for your support for my consideration for appointment to the State Civil Service Board. I do have some prepared comments, and I'll just try to get through those quickly for you. It's a little bit of personal background. Some of you may recognize me because I did serve in the Kansas House for 8 years. I first came in 2012, and I personally chose not to seek re-election, so last year was my last time of service in representing the 67th District, which is kind of the west half of Manhattan, Kansas. I was raised in Fort Scott, Kansas, and then I went out to school at Kansas State University and received my Bachelor of Science and my Master's in Regional and Community Planning. My very first job after graduation was here in Topeka, and I worked for what was then called the Topeka-Shawnee County Metropolitan Planning Agency. And I think I worked there for maybe 7 months or so, and then I was hired in Lenexa, Kansas. And then after 3 or 4 years, I think, I was promoted to the planning director. And during this time, my wife was in medical school, and I've shared the story that we could manage 2 careers and 1 son pretty effectively, but when the second son arrived, I was willing to alter my career path. And just to be totally forward with everybody, I always knew my wife was going to make more money as a physician. So she had the opportunity to relocate ourselves back to Manhattan, Kansas. And I started doing consulting work. I was actually hired down in Cherokee County as soon as I had left my position in Lenexa, and then really my market niche was working with small and rural communities across the state and in the Midwest. While in Lenexa, I was the department head. I had probably about 25 employees working underneath me. And we really enjoyed our time in Lenexa, but I resigned in 1992, and as I said, we moved back to Manhattan. I was active in the Manhattan community, and then I actually got myself elected to the city commission and served as mayor, and then lost a re-election over a downtown redevelopment project. And then my predecessor in the House was Susan Mosier, and she resigned and went to work for, I believe, for the governor at that point in time. And then I was elected by the precinct chairmen and women, and then served in the Kansas House for, like I said, 8 years. I did serve as the assistant majority leader for 1 term in 2017-18. And I just kind of wrap up by saying for the last 37 years, I've been involved in private sector, public sector employment. I believe I bring a range of professional and public service experiences, allowing me to be an effective member of the State Civil Service Board. And I have government management experience, interaction with a lot of the government agencies, my time here in the State House. And I look forward to continuing my service to the state of Kansas and providing fair and impartial decisions regarding state personnel activities and hearing appeals from state employees and state agencies. I thank you for this opportunity to testify before you this morning, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any questions. I just want to say you have my support, and when I walked in the room and saw you, I thought, well, there he is. I hadn't seen him for a while now. It makes sense, and thank you so much.
Senator Reichman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for testifying today. Again, it's always good to see a familiar face. Mine just a basic question. What really does the State Civil Service Board do? Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. My understanding is if I'm a state employee and a scenario where I am fired and feel like I was unjustly fired, they can come before the State Civil Service Board and say, present their case and their thinking and their rationale between explaining why they thought that they were terminated unfairly. And we would have the ability to listen to both sides of the debate and discussion and make a fair and impartial decision whether that termination should be supported or not.
Any further questions? Yes, Senator Ware.
Just a comment, really. I love the breadth and depth of your experience, including, I'm guessing, balancing a soccer game with your professional responsibilities as well, and carting the kids around. That is an angle of life that lots of guys never learn. So thank you so much.
I will share that with my wife.
Okay. Any further questions, comments? Well, thank you very much for being here. I want to explain to the committee, they probably know this already, that the reason that Mr. Phillips is here is because he's a new appointee and he must serve or must show up before the committee. So thank you very much for doing so today. Committee, yes, Senator Longvine.
Mr. Chairman, was it your intention to forward this today, or did you want to sit on
My intention is to do so. Do we want to do that now?
it? I would move that we move Tom Phillips out favorably to the full Senate for confirmation.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? Thank you very much, and congratulations. We do have two other appointments today, and those are Cheryl Gilchrist. She's a member at large for the State Civil Service Board, and she's to serve a 4-year term. Expiration is 3/15/25. She is in the packet. Is there any discussion on this nomination? What are your wishes? Do we have a motion to move this? No. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move that we pass Cheryl Gilchrist, her reappointment out favorably from the committee.
We have a second. Second by, I had it over on the other side over there. Senator Cluse. Sorry. So motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The next one we have, reappointment, is Brandon Jones. He's a member of the Kansas Racing Commission and serve a 4-year term expiring 1/15/25. Again, it's in your packet. You've had that to study. Are there any questions on Brandon Jones? What is your wishes on? Yes, Senator Reichman.
Just a comment. I noticed that he's been a state prosecutor for 21 years, and he's already served on it 6 years, so I thought that was good background.
Yep.
Thank you.
So Do I entertain a motion? We have a motion by Senator Hildebrand, second. Second by Senator Ware. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate that. So we will close the hearings on confirmation and we'll move on to our agenda. And we do have introduction of we have bills previously worked. I'll get that right in a moment. And if you do have your packets, please leave those packets with us today. Appreciate that. Okay. Okay, now we're ready. Bill we'll be working on would be House Bill 2058, allowing reciprocity to recognize out-of-state licenses to carry a concealed gun. Jason, could you give us a brief description of this bill?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, as you may recall, House Bill 2058 made 3 policy changes with respect to concealed carry licensure in the state of Kansas. The first thing is there's language added to the Personal and Family Protection Act to recognize licenses issued by other jurisdictions to non-residents in Kansas to allow those non-residents to carry a concealed handgun in the state of Kansas in accordance with Kansas law if they possess such a license. The second part of 2058 was to authorize the Attorney General to issue a concealed carry authorization document if the Attorney General determines that conditions exist to make it impractical for the Division of Vehicles to issue the physical concealed carry licensure card in a timely manner, such as during a global pandemic. The Attorney General can issue an authorization document that serves the same function as the concealed carry license card until the licensee can get the card from the Division of Vehicles. The third amendment policy change under 2058 was to authorize issuance of a provisional concealed carry license to individuals who are 18 to 20. A standard concealed carry license can only be issued to persons 21 or older. This provisional license, however, would be issued to 18 to 20-year-olds under the same training requirements and other conditions, fees, and et cetera, as a standard license. The difference is an 18 to 20-year-old would be required to have a license in order to carry a concealed handgun legally in Kansas. But as you may remember, if you're 21 or older, you can get a concealed carry license, but you don't have to have a concealed carry license to carry a concealed firearm in the state of Kansas if you're 21 or older. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jason. The question that I had, I think maybe it said this and I missed it, but today an 18-year-old can open carry. Is that correct?
That's correct. They can't open carry, but they are restricted. There's a criminal law that prohibits them from concealed carry.
And so, as someone said during our testimony, if they put a jacket on, then they are breaking that law. Is that correct?
That's correct. If they cover up the fact that they are carrying a firearm, they would be committing a crime.
And so this bill would allow the 18-year-old to conceal carry as if they complete the training. Is that correct?
That's correct. If they complete the training, pay the fees, and receive the provisional license and carry that provisional license with them, they can carry a concealed handgun at that time.
Thank you, Jason. Is there any comments or questions? Yes, Senator Falscadell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I appreciate the comment you just made to clarify the open and concealed carry. I still have a problem with 18-year-olds being able, so I will be opposing but just wanted to.
Senator Dietrich.
Thank you. So you had said fee, Jason had said fee. Is there not a fee for the open carry?
Senator, there is no license required to carry a firearm openly in the state of Kansas, and it's legal to do so. So no, there's no fee that would be paid or any entity that would be paid to carry an open firearm.
Can I ask one other? And did you also say in your summary that this requires a background check as well? So it's training, background check, fee, then you get the concealed carry license.
Yes, all the requirements that must be met to get a standard concealed carry license would have to be met by the 18 to 20-year-old to get a provisional concealed carry license.
Yes, Senator Ware.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, besides the question of whether we should have teenagers conceal carrying or not, all of the emails that I've been getting on this bill, every single one of them was concerned about the lower standards that other jurisdictions have and that they didn't want to dilute Kansas. And so between the two, it's going to be hard for me to appreciate this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that appreciate your comments. The training that is included in the bill and I think helps the concealed carry portion of it. Concern that we have for those of us that are on the border would be the people that are coming like from Oklahoma to Missouri. They come into Kansas to hunt and back. And that is the reciprocal agreement is really what's important to them. So any further questions? Yes, Senator Reichman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to mention again, for them to get the provisional license, the people applying for this, the younger ones, they got to do the standard licensing. It means they're going to have to do the training and the shooting test that's required. I know when I got my concealed carry, that's what I had to do, shoot 50 rounds, and besides the, I think it was 8 or 12 hours of classroom. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Senator Clues.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The requirement for getting the license is what's important to me, since they can already open carry without one. So that training to prepare them to continue to carry is important. And in the past, I've actually been trained as a security guard that carried a side weapon, and also for GSA for security guard for the federal building. And there's not a whole lot of difference other than you have to qualify for shooting that weapon. And so I'm in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes, Senator Pasadena.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jason, I just had one quick question, though. In here, it says the bill would also create exemptions in certain criminal statuses for criminal possession of a firearm. Exactly, what would those exceptions be for what type of crimes?
Oh, Senator, I believe those are the exemptions from certain criminal possession statutes if the individual holds a provisional license to carry a concealed handgun. We have some statutes that are generally at the front of the bill, sections 1, sections 2, and I believe section 3 and 4 as well. All have are crimes that would prohibit the carrying of a firearm by a person under 21 in a concealed manner. And so there's an exemption written into those statutes under the bill to exempt them from that crime if they possess the provisional concealed carry license. And those are generally, like I said, the firearm criminal statutes in 21-6301, 6302, 6309, and then there is a hunter statute under the Department of Wildlife, Parks, and Tourism that's amended as well.
Thank you. Committee, what is your wishes to do on this bill? Senator Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have an amendment I would like to offer. Jason?
Yes, there's the amendment on 2058 to add the provisions of Senate Bill 190.
Could you give us an explanation of that? I'll pass that out.
Up here. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, as you may recall, Senate Bill 190 was heard in this committee, and that was the bill known as the Kansas Protection of Firearm Rights Act. It made amendments to the expungement statutes to explicitly declare that upon expungement of a conviction that prohibited an individual from possessing a firearm, that upon expungement of that conviction, the individual would have their right to keep and bear arms fully restored, including the right to transport, receive, purchase, transfer, and possess firearms. You can see that on down here on page 11, towards the end of the attachment. The bill also, the amendment and Senate Bill 190 also made amendments to 21-6304, which is a statute that prohibits a convicted felon from possessing a weapon. Those amendments, which can be seen on starting on page 1 of the attachment, would have clarified that the felony conviction, the individual must have used the firearm in commission of the crime. It removed those crimes that did not involve use of the firearm to reduce some of those, so that individuals cannot be convicted under a statute unless they used the firearm in the commission of the crime or it was otherwise a serious person felony.
Thank you, Jason. Any questions? Seeing none, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Senator Cluse made the second. Discussion, yes. Senator Ware.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As usual, I'm hesitant to expand any access to guns in general. I understand, though, that this feels a little bit like how we allow a felon who is now off papers to vote again. And so on that basis, I guess I'm going to pass.
Any other discussion? We do have a second, and no further discussion on the amendment. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're back on the bill. What's your wishes on the bill? We have motion.
So, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pass out House Bill 2058 as amended favorably for passage.
Motion been made. Do we have a second? Second by Senator Cluse. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? None opposed. Motion carries. Thank you very much. We have one other bill working today, and that is the Bill 2089, which is House Bill 2089. And Jason, could you give us a brief description on that, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this was a bill that we heard, the committee heard yesterday. Substitute for House Bill 2089 would require the State Board of Education to establish curriculum guidance for a firearm safety education program if it is offered by a public school district. The guidance includes that the K through 5 program would be based on the Eddie Eagle Gun Safe program offered by the National Rifle Association. Middle school grades 6 through 8 would be based on either the Eddie Eagle Gun Safe program or the Hunter Education in Our Schools program offered by the Kansas Department of Wildlife, Parks, and Tourism. And then high school grades 9 through 12, the program would be based on the Hunter Education in Our Schools program. Again, the school district retains sole discretion as to whether or not any such programs are to be offered in any of the public schools under the operation of the school district. But if the programs are offered, then they must be offered in accordance with this state board's guidance.
Is there any discussion? Yes. Senator Ware.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I am still a little bit unsure. Perhaps you can help me, Jason. So if a school district decides to teach a curriculum like this, does this bill bind them to the Eddie Eagle, or can they pick another sort from a different group?
As I read the bill, if the school district decides to offer a gun safety program for, say, elementary schools and the elementary schools of the district, it would have to offer those in accordance with the state board's guidance, curriculum guidance on that. And the curriculum guidance must be based on the Eddie Eagle Gun Safe program. So essentially, they would need to offer something that is the Eddie Eagle or substantially the same as the Eddie Eagle Gun Safe program offered by the NRA.
Turning that off and on. Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Yes. Senator Pals-Cadot.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to state for the record, the concept of the bill, when we speak of Eddie the Eagle and training, I think that's important. However, I will be opposing the legislation on the mere fact that it was sold as Royale's law, that piece of it in there, where that bill, the content and the main purpose of Royale's law was to different language, and if Jason could just express the difference of, but being that it's this legislation 2089 is being sold as Royale's piece, it's concerning. So, but Jason, if you could just clarify that for me. So, thank you.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman, Senator. The Royale Act is the bill that the committee is currently considering, substitute for House Bill 2089 regarding firearm safety education programs in public schools. There is another bill, Senate Bill 294, which would create new law that would be known as the Royale Spencer Firearm Safety Act, I believe was the name of it, that would make it a crime to fail to keep firearms securely stored and away from minors. That is Senate Bill 294 that this committee has not heard so far this session.
Yes, Senator Cluse.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like this Eddie Eagle because kids learn by repetition, and I was reminded, stop, don't touch, run away, tell a grown-up. Kind of reminds me of the 70s when they came out with the fire safety, stop, drop, and roll. So for that, I like that. The earlier we can give kids instruction on gun safety, I think the better. And the last thing I would point out is that this is optional. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes, Senator Reichman.
Thank you, Mr. Leader, and thank you, Jason. I don't know how you keep all these stuff straight. Yeah, all these bills, and I have to admire you on that. On the memorandum that we have on there, it goes by the state board's guidance, include guidance that for grades K through 5, such program will be based on the Eddie Eagle gun safety program offered by the NRA or any successor program. So there could be one later on. If I think some may be against this because it says NRA, but what I know about the Eddie Eagle is really a good program. And I know in our sheriff office, they have it up on the wall when I visit some of my former students in jail. But it says stop, Hey, I can talk to them then, okay? Don't touch, run away, and then tell somebody. And I think those are things that that are good reminders for all of us. And I'd be supporting this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Yes, Senator Ware.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I kind of like the idea of the bill that Senator Faust-Godot was talking about. Training is wonderful, but what if the gun was never available to begin with? That could be more of a solution as well, or another part of the solution to keeping our kids safe with guns around. I'd love to hear that bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Senator Faust-Godot.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Jason, so was that amendment Royale's law offered in the House?
Yes, the provisions of Senate Bill 294 was offered as a floor amendment during the House floor debate on substitute for House Bill 2089.
And did it failed, obviously?
Yes, it failed. Yes.
Oh, thank you. And then I'll say the Senator Reichman is convinced me to just pass. Thank you.
Senator Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a amendment.
Pass that out, please. And Jason, could you give us a brief on that amendment, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, the balloon being distributed is the amendment requested by the Department of Wildlife, Parks, and Tourism. They requested that in addition to the hunter education in our schools program that the department offers for grades 6 through 12 as an option, that the local board of education have the discretion to also select any other firearm safety education program that is offered by the Department of Wildlife Parks and Tourism. So they would not be locked in to the hunter education in our schools program necessarily. They could choose one of the other fire safety education programs the department offers, and that would be available in any of the grades 6 through 12 if the school district elects to offer a firearm safety education program for any of those grades.
Thank you. Yes, Senator Dietrich.
What other programs do they offer? I don't know the other programs. Do you?
Senator Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just going off of their testimony, they have an air gun safety course, something like that. So.
Okay. Is there any questions? Do we have a motion? We had a motion. Do we have a second on this? Yes, we have Senator Close. Any further discussion on the amendment? Yes, Senator Close.
Just for repetitious sake, I guess, I like the fact that however we can educate our kids. You know, I grew up in rural Kansas, came here in the 6th grade, had my hunter safety course, and of course, I represent all of Osage County, rural. And so when it comes to safety and firearms, I don't think we can do enough to offer and have options for people to learn. So I'm supportive of this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a former hunter safety instructor, I too support this. I know the air gun safety in that is transferable to regular firearms. The hunter safety sometimes carries in a little more into hunting, like identification of animals, how to tell their age, how to tell the difference between an elk and a deer. So I do support this amendment. Appreciate the senator for bringing it.
Thank you. Further discussion? Okay. We're on the amendment. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You would like to be recorded. Okay, thank you. Senator Ware, and did you want to be recorded or? Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Yes, Senator Hildebrand.
If there are no other amendments, I'd like to make a motion that we pass out Senate Bill or House Bill 2089 as amended favorably for passage.
Substitute for House Bill, is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. As amended. So any further discussion? All in favor? Senator Peterson seconded it, right? Yes. Okay, once again, all approved? Aye. Against the bill? 1, 2. Thank you very much. Motion carries. Senator Ware. You want to be recorded? Yes. Well, committee, that concludes our official business for the year. I thank you very much for all the help. First of all, I want to thank Jason for being our reviser. He has done an excellent job. Staff has been we would not be here without the staff. So thank you very much, staff. We appreciate all you do. And thank you for the committee. Now, having said that, we might get assigned a different day or something later, but right now that's the official end of the deal. So thank you very much, and this meeting is adjourned.